You're now watching a clip from the Inspired by show. You can watch the full episode on our YouTube channel or listen on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. So make sure to head over there, leave us a 5-star rating if you enjoyed it, and follow the show.
So what does stay hungry mean to you in that context?
Are you ready for this one?
Yeah, go for it.
So the year I was born, 3 months before I was born, my dad's brother committed suicide. So I was born into crazy, crazy turmoil. And the situation triggered my own dad's bipolar. So I lived in a volatile household with like a lot of trouble. I think my dad was sectioned for the first time when I was 2. And got a little brother as well. So my mum had to work 3-4 jobs to put food on the table, to make sure we got fed. Literally, some days she ate less so that me and my brother could eat. And we grew up in a relatively affluent area as poor people. So that gave me massive contrast and it made me stand out. And I had to deal with that, as well as having to deal with my dad being in and out of hospital and things like the police coming round, various things when he was unwell that would occur. And I watched my mum keep all the plates spinning. Now she's not entrepreneurial, but she's certainly hungry, and she sacrificed a lot for us. So that was kind of my upbringing. And when I was 12, my dad tried to commit suicide in a incredibly graphic and difficult way to publicly deal with. And, you know, you go to school and people get wind of that. It's brutal. So I was kind of dealing with that and dealing with the things that went on at home. But in my own kind of life, I was a geek. I pushed really hard. I worked hard. I wanted grades at school. I wanted to do anything I could to get myself out of that situation so it never happened to me. And I had a really good friend who supported me through that, and she understood kind of what was going on in my life. And she asked me at New Year when I was 17, she said, "Oh, could you just give me a buzz?" And I couldn't ring her. And the reason I couldn't ring her was I was with my girlfriend at the time, and she was a little bit jealous. And in hindsight, rightly so. There was nothing going on, but it was tricky. And when I did ring, it panned out she'd committed suicide that night. So that was just insane start to life. And so I've sort of promised myself that if I can help people achieve what they want in life and achieve the things that they can only dream of, I'm giving back. And that's kind of, when I wake up in a low mood or when I'm having a tough day, that is a really good sense of purpose to help people achieve amazing things. And hopefully I'm an example of someone that's come from significant adversity and I'm doing things that people wouldn't expect. And so I kind of want that for others. And the more I want it for others, the more seems to come to me. Yeah. And so that's my reason to stay hungry.
Wow, that is such an inspiring story, Joel. And I had no idea about any of that. And I think that's where I find talking to people like yourself is just so inspiring, because a lot of people just see Joel Stone, podcast star, best-selling author, you know, all of these incredible accolades. But actually, there are so many defining moments in our lives that nobody would know unless they ask.
Yeah, and I'm really cautious to tell that story in a sense that I'm looking for sympathy. So it's hard for me to go onto a stage or to write a book and tell those stories and not look like I'm trying for sympathy. So if I can tell that story and it helps one person, it was worth telling it. If I'm telling that story because I want, like, the woe is me, get your violins out thing, it does damage.
Yeah.
So I'm really cautious about how often I tell it and how I tell it.
When you call back your friend and you didn't get the answer, what was going through your head when you found out what happened?
No one's ever asked me that. I struggled with incredible guilt for 15 years. So that happened when I was 17 and I didn't get a handle on it till I was 32. I'm 36 now. Because I thought I'd let her down. And to an extent, I did let her down. I wasn't to know that was going to happen, but I was the person she reached out to, and I wasn't there. And I never want that to happen again. So my clients get a level of support that's weird, and my friends get a level of support that's weird. But I'm also a straight talker because I've been through some shit, and some people see that as a bit blunt and a bit rude, but it's not. It's because I haven't got time to mess about, because what if something terrible happened?
I can really relate to the guilt as well, you know, and I think the hardest part is we can never go back, and also we can never know what would have been different.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many things that I can relate to where, without going into the whole story, when I first was depressed and was severely depressed and I was unwell, my best friend had also found out that she was diagnosed with MS at the age of 24, which for her was just, you know, catastrophic to her life. And she reached out to me for help. And I was so, excuse my French, but fucked with my own shit. Like I couldn't get out of bed. I was borderline suicidal. And I so wanted to help her, but I was so couldn't. And I live with that guilt. I still have. And only now, the fortunate thing in my situation is I can make it up to her, and I'm forever trying, you know, always being there for her. Now she rings me, I am there because I feel like my cup is full. I think sometimes there is that element of actually being okay with the fact that we can't change what's happened and we can move forward with it. And like you say, you probably now give way more than you maybe would have. Would you say before?
So I obviously had tremendous struggles with my own mental health off the back of that. And didn't want to admit it because my family had been through enough. So, you know, with my dad in and out of hospital, for me to then go to my mum and say, oh, by the way, I think I've got depression because I'm having suicidal thoughts, was a no-go. It was like, that is one extra piece of shit that I don't want to drop on her. And then as it got worse and worse, you start to realise, shit, if I don't tell someone, something bad's going to happen. At the same time, I'm growing a new business and I'm meeting clients and I'm putting on a brave face and I'm dealing with all this shit going on. And then it literally took me till 32, 33 and some stuff that happened in lockdown for me to get out of my own head and realise what I needed to do to be successful for myself so that other people could benefit. And that's been mad.
Wow. Isn't it interesting though how we often feel like we can be a burden to others when we have depression, mental illness, any sort of thing actually? Because I'm the same. When I was really unwell and I was having suicidal thoughts, I didn't want to tell anyone because I was like, I can't bear them with the pressure of it.
Yeah.
But would you say that your ability to handle it was better or worse given the history that you'd had through, the experience you'd had with your family?
I knew I'd never kill myself, even though I wanted to. Really dark thing to say on a podcast, but I'd seen the devastation it causes and I'd got that safety net. I've been close, but I'd got that safety net there. And so I always strive to achieve stuff, even at my lowest. Like I could force myself to do things and I would burn out and that would be pretty bad, but I was still achieving stuff. And so, I mean, I met someone at a talk this week and they were there when I quit a job through mental illness. I actually worked with them as a colleague. And they were like, no one would have ever known you had anything wrong. They were like, you were like the top performer in the company. And then the next day you were gone. And I was like, well, yeah, that's the game I play. That's the game I still play. I don't have anything severe going on at all, but personally, but I have things going on with family members, like as we all do, and I still show up and I still get shit done, and that's the real stay hungry side of it.